Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast schedule release special. It is finally out after delay, after delay, after delay. What's up, Bears fans? We're doing this the only way we know how, just like we have the last 2 years before this. Crushing it with our schedule release show. We're breaking it all down. We're giving predictions. We're breaking down the quirkiness of some of this and our favorite parts, our worst parts. We got it all for you because as much as people want to poo-poo the schedule release, yeah, we know all the opponents, blah, blah, blah. This is all about entertainment, and you can't be entertained until you know when the games are being played. Now we got that down. We're ready to go. Welcome in Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr., Nicholas Moreano, all here with you. We are all going to, throughout the show, break down, give our predictions, and have some fun with this along the way as well. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And let's go ahead and start this thing, boys. Best and worst of the Chicago Bears schedule. I will start with my best because even though we've known this was coming, it is now official. We have our date. We can book our flights. We can make our arrangements, and we can all go to truefantravel.com and start to plan ahead to our giant party in London because it is now official. The Bears will play the Jaguars October 13th in London. This trip was, we've talked about it a ton on this show, was so much fun back in 2019, even though the Bears lost. We will give those predictions on how we think this game is going to go this time as we get through this show. But I'm just excited to get out there in London. I can't wait to do this with Bears fans because we had some meet and greets. We had some fun last time, but to actually go on a trip from start to finish with Bears fans in truefantravel.com is really, really exciting. So we've been telling you for weeks now, you can get your deposits, you can put them down, but now you can go ahead and book this whole thing. The prices are now on the website, truefantravel.com. Find the CHGO road trip to London graphic right there. It's been updated with the dates, the prices, the whole thing. It's all inclusive. You can customize your package if you need a flight. Some of you don't. We get that. You're already in Europe or you're coming from elsewhere. Whatever, you can do all that and get it locked in. Right now, we are ready to go and we are excited. So, guys, that is my best of this, quite frankly, weird Bears schedule, which gets to my worst. The home game, I'm going to call it chunkiness, where you got 2 home games in a row and then you're not home for over a month. And then you got 2 games in a row at home and then you're gone for a while again. I mean, this whole thing is just really weird. There's a bunch of different angles to break this down, but it's going to be, I don't know. We'll continue to talk about it, but it's just a weird, chunky schedule is what I'm going to call it. And it is there on your screen. I should probably read it off for everybody who's listening to this podcast, but the Bears open up week 1 against the Titans at home. Then they go on the road for 2 straight games, Titans, Colts. So right there, you just play the AFC South for 3 straight weeks to start the season. Mm-hmm. That's a chunk. Then you come back home. You get 2 games in a row, Rams, Panthers. Then you go to London. You have your bye week. Then you come home for 2 games. Then you go back on the road for 2 games. So that's that chunk I was just talking about. Between London, a bye, and 2 road games, the Bears don't play at home from October 6th until November 10th, which is really weird. So then they have 3 home games in a row. Then they go on the road for 3 games in a row. And it's just weird, guys. I don't love that part of it.
First of all, welcome back, Hoge. It's great to see you. Second of all, I think you've just been thirsty to podcast with us. You've never talked that much to start the show ever. This is a level of excitement.
You guys already did a show today. We don't need to say hi. We just need to get into our best and worst of the schedule. They were waiting long enough.
They were. And
now I'm itching to hear your best of the schedule.
Well, but see, for me, the best of the schedule is almost the best was to hear you, and that started.
There we go.
But let me go into my best as look. For me, it's pretty obvious. you have week 11, week 12, week 13. They make you wait until week 11 to play a division game. And at least we get to do it with the Packers at home. So that's sweet. Then we follow it up with the Vikings. Bring it on, Minnesota. And then you get the capper on Thanksgiving Day. Here you go, Detroit. So it's really like you have the first 10 weeks. Let's get set. Let's get Caleb going. All right. And now let's go into the division and see where we are at. That is going to be an unbelievable stretch. I'm looking forward to it right now. I'll be looking forward to it then. So, hopefully, obviously, the Bears will be in a very good position right there. My worst is, old school Carm. I like noon games. And I thought there was going to be more prime time, but we're all over the place. We got Thursday night. We got Thanksgiving. We got Monday night. We got London, which I'm going to love. We got Sunday night. Old school, Mark Carm, I like my noon kickoffs, so I would have liked to have had more of them. But the schedule, to your point, Hoge, is weird. It's you're not playing a division game week 11. That's weird, and it'll be a super huge challenge for the Bears at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think everyone's looking at the end of the season like it's going to make or break the Bears season. But my best, actually, I'm going to change on the fly here, is actually week 1 against the Tennessee Titans for Caleb Williams. I'm calling it a soft landing spot for him to kind of go into facing the 4th team in the AFC South, a team that has Will Levis at quarterback. Have they had some upgrades on the team? They bring in Calvin Ridley. They lose their leading tackle at the linebacker position. So I'm looking at that game as very winnable for what the Bears can do and to kind of start off Caleb Williams right. And usually you see that week 1, it's what Bears Packers. And if that game goes how it usually has gone, it's usually a devastating blow for Bears fans. So I think the best case scenario is given the Tennessee Titans at Soldier Field to let Caleb Williams and company get off right and hopefully get away with a victory. My worst is from week 15, you guys, to week 17. The Bears play 3 games in 10 days. And, that is a tough stretch for any football team, doesn't matter how prepared you are, how many games you've won, but to go from the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football on December 16th to then follow that with a home game against the Lions. And then you have Thursday Night Football against Seattle Seahawks. That's tough. Like, I get it. You play 2 divisional opponents in those first 2 games, but then to have Seattle there just 4 days after hosting the Lions, like, that's not easy. So that last stretch right there is going to be really crucial for the Bears season, but I'm going to take that as my worst.
Yeah, I mean, there's some ebbs and flows. Certainly the clunkiness, I agree, Hoge, is probably the best way to term this schedule. So there's a lot of things I can pick apart that I'm not in love with it. But my best, what is the thing that we all want as the goal for the Bears at the end of the year? We said it last year and we say it again this year, to be in the hunt. So if they are to be in the hunt at the end of the year, my best has to be that Seattle game. Because while it isn't ideal that it's a Thursday night game coming off 2 divisional games, Nick, you do now get 10 games, 10 days to lead up and prepare for Green Bay. So if they handle their business early on and set the table, maybe you have some ups and downs in the middle of the year with some tough scheduling. But if you get to the end of the year and that second to last week of the season, you go into the final week of the year in the hunt, you get 10 days to prepare for the Green Bay Packers. So I like that a lot, how that sets up for them. So that's got to be my best. My worst, your best was Tennessee, Nick. My worst is Tennessee week 1. I understand that if you had to rank, I mean, when we were ranking last week, the games that are most likely to be the week 1 opponent, I think Tennessee might have been 17th of 17 games to be my week 1 opponent. And that's fine. The Bears should win that game. We're way away from, any kind of week 1 prognostications to be saying that. But at the same time, they got to win that football game. This is one of the more beatable teams on their schedule. So, okay, cool. Get Caleb Williams off the ground running. I'm all for that. Let's get the win. But at 12 o'clock, Tennessee matchup, after all this hype around who they were going to play, maybe it's on primetime against the Lions. Maybe it's the Texans in primetime. Now you do get it in week 2, so it is still early in the year. But your home opener, Caleb Williams' debut at Soldier Field, is a noon slate against Tennessee. It's like, it just, for me, it kind of took the air a little bit out of the hype that I had of who we were going to play and who Caleb Williams was going to, show up and show the world who he is week 1. But hey, again, all for the Bears coming out to a hot start. And I do like how the schedule lays out from week 1 all the way to the London game, which I'm sure obviously we'll get into.
Yeah, guys, I'm just going to say it. This schedule stinks.
Yeah.
I hate it. Week 1 against the Titans, Caleb Williams, all this hype. Like, did the NFL just be like, oh, sorry, Bears, you just got your 4 months of Caleb Williams hype. We're not even going to pay attention to it when the season starts. Come on. I mean, Sunday night football to start the year was staring right at you as an option. Even late afternoon would have been fine, in one of those big national windows. Like, just noon out of the gate against the Titans? Okay, and then you got no divisional games until mid-November?
Right. Your first 3 games of the year are against the AFC South.
Yes. Nobody likes the AFC South.
Nobody.
What? Everybody makes fun of the AFC and NFC South. Those are the divisions that collectively don't really rate well. Like what? Who came up with this?
Hold on. Look, it's still the NFL season opener, you guys. Let's not forget about that. It's Caleb Williams finally in a game. Who cares who he's playing against? We're going to be hyped. You on that day, I wish I could see you for the longevity from the tailgate to when you get to the studio, because you're going to be losing your damn mind. Let's be completely honest. Caleb Williams and what he could possibly do against the Titans. I get it. I get it. You want to see the Packers. You want to see primetime. You want to see better opponents, but you're still seeing Caleb Williams in a regular season game throw to all these receivers that we've been talking about in training camp, all these things. Like, I think everyone will be excited once week 1 comes.
And ultimately what I want is a win, right? And so the Titans, if you had to rank teams they're most likely to beat this season, Titans would be one of the top teams if everyone had to make their ranking. So as long as they win that game, right, I don't care that it's a cupcake, so to speak, but that also scares me a little bit, right? The idea that we're all sitting here going, all right, that's a win, week 1, check. And I'm like, I agree, and I'll pick that. I had, we'll get into our picks, but like, and to me, that part of it also scares me, is the jinx factor of everyone just assuming now the Bears are easily going to win week 1 because they need to going into Houston week 2.
Yeah. Just a reminder, CJ Stroud versus Caleb Williams week 2 is sweet on Sunday Night Football. Caleb Williams in the opener is sweet. By the way, I'm interested in seeing Anthony Richardson and the Bears in week 3. Hopefully he's healthy. We're good. It's going to be, it is clunky. It is odd, but you're not going to be sitting there, this is so terrible. We're opening up against the Titans.
No, we are going to do that. And there's only 3 primetime games total. There's only 3 primetime games total. And as Nick brought up, you have that ridiculous 3 games in 10 days stretch in the most crucial part of the season, in the last quarter of the season. So a lot of that negates whatever strength of schedule the Bears even have. Plus and I will say, if there's one positive, it is the early season. Maybe you get off to a nice little start there. But the back end of the schedule, not only the opponents, the loaded division stretch, and the actual scheduling and the lack of rest in there is not a good thing. 2 Thursday games from Thanksgiving on, a stretch that you have to play 3 games in 10 days. It's tough. They did not help the Bears in the back half of the schedule at all.
No argument there. It's horrendous. And the whole NFL with, we're going to give you bye weeks and player safety, to put the Bears on Monday night, to follow it back up with the Sunday. Okay, that's how that works when you plan Monday night. No football team wants to plan Monday night. You hate waiting all the way through it. You get less rest. And then to turn around and put them back on Thursday, that's borderline criminal. 100%. That part of it's brutal.
All right, let's we're gonna do this. First of all, appreciate everybody watching. We got over 1,000 people watching live right now. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. If you're new here, we're on a different time. It's a special night with the schedule coming out, so maybe you're with us for the first time ever. Hit subscribe right now. Take the link, send it off to a friend that you know is a Bears fan and would love getting content like this every single day, which is what we do Monday through Friday. We're usually on at noon. This is actually our second show today. Because the schedule is coming out today. You guys did a great job earlier today. So You can always subscribe to as a podcast, available wherever you listen to pods. Hit subscribe there, rate and review the show. You can listen in your car that way at your leisure. Plenty of ways to find us, and we greatly appreciate that. Now, how we're going to do this is we're all going to kind of take turns running through our schedule predictions. As we wrap up this first segment, we go to Nick, who is going to tell us how he sees this all playing out in 2024.
Yeah, so we'll define this by this 2024 Bears schedule as a series of runs here. And Adam, you did a good job of highlighting the beginning of what this schedule could look like for the Bears, because I have the Bears, winning a good portion of their games early on this season, starting with Tennessee getting that W. And Houston, it's a really tough matchup. Also, remember, Danielle Hunter is also in Houston, so tag him with Will Anderson. I think they'll get after Caleb Williams, and they'll ultimately lose that Week 2 matchup. You do get that game in Indy, and I think the Bears will ultimately win that one. And the Rams, I think, are still going to be a good football team. You can't count out Matthew Stafford, so the L. But here's a streak, a crazy streak, if that. Starting with that Carolina game, fitting it's Carolina that starts a winning streak here. But you go to Carolina, get the W, go to London and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. And look, the Bears have played at Washington before, and they've gotten a W with Justin Fields. Still see the same thing happening with now Caleb Williams, and then another road matchup against Arizona. You get the W there against the Cardinals and Marvin Harrison Jr. Rookie quarterback matchup between Drake May and Caleb Williams with New England. Get that W in for the first time in a very long time. The Bears will get finally a victory over the Green Bay Packers, and then follow that up with a divisional win against the Vikings. But it really starts to go down for the Bears in this prediction, where they start to go on the road and then start to rack up those L's. There's just some really tough opponents, and also you're on the road for 3 games in a row: Detroit, San Francisco, Minnesota. Like, that's not easy. And then you have that stretch that we were talking about, the 3 games in 10 days. The Bears ultimately break that losing streak with the victory over Detroit in December, but that it would be the 3rd game in 10 days against Seattle. I know maybe people look at that game as saying, like, okay, the Bears, I think, match up well, but that's just a stretch football team. So I ultimately have them losing that one. And then at Green Bay, you guys, like, I get it. Like, this Bears team should be improved, but just seeing how last year's matchups went with Green Bay, even though the last game of the year was, I think, a 17-9 loss, it felt a lot worse than that. I had the Bears losing that one, but the Bears start off hot, still improve from their 7 games they won in 2023 by 3 games, 10-7. I think that should be enough to get you ultimately a playoff spot. So 10-7, you guys.
All right. Some people are going to call that negative.
I mean,
lack
of optimism. 10 wins. What kind of Nicholas Moreano have you become? What is this?
I only had him improving by 3 games, but I
don't even know who I'm looking at. What is this?
Yeah.
10 wins.
Well, I'm just setting the table, because I feel like most of these schedule predictions, not just here, but across the board, are going to be. What is the over under again right now? Is it 8.5?
8.5. Unless it's moved today.
Is there going to be I'm serious. Is there going to be a single media member in the entire city of Chicago that predicts under 8.5 wins when they do? We're going to see it in the newspapers. We're going to see it all over Twitter, on shows like this. Everyone's going to make predictions. Is anyone actually going to say 8-9, let alone 7 or 10 or anything? Maybe there'll be one, but Nick kind of paints.
If they do, we will kill them.
That's
I don't think anyone's going to go worse than Nick's 10-7. How's that? I think you're going to have a hard time finding a 9-8.
Someone will do it.
Potash might throw out a 9-8. It's a Potsy 9-8er.
Potsy might go 0-17.
That's a possibility too.
Yeah. So Nick, what was that? A 7-game win streak in there, and then
1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's a 7-game win streak followed by a 3-game losing streak, and then that victory over the Detroit Lions, and then you end the season with a 2-game losing streak. So game streaks.
You got them losing 5 of 6.
So that's the thing. You have them at 9-2 going into Thanksgiving. The Bears are. Let's just picture this. They're 9-2 going into Thanksgiving, nationally televised game against the Lions. From that point on, they go 1-5.
And thoughts turn to should they draft a quarterback? It'll be great.
Okay, that's not where I was going to go with that. Where I am going, if they finish
Does Tyson Bagent need to start to end the year?
If they go 1-5 after starting 9-2, I wonder how hot the seats might be. Is what I was going to go.
That's true. Yeah,
there. Just
very good point.
The way that roller coaster goes, I wouldn't necessarily anticipate a change like that because it's still, like you said, Nick, an improvement of 3 wins, but not exactly how you want to end the year. And fans would certainly be pissed off. Here's what I'm going to tell you though. Here's what you will definitely not be upset if, as you're looking at the schedule and you're trying to figure out what game should I go to, how do I get these tickets? Go check out Game Time, because Game Time can get you hooked up for all different sports. Like for Major League Baseball, they're an authorized ticket marketplace of MLB, which helps getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to games, and they're known for killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, and their lowest price guarantee. But that all applies to football games too, and so Game Time's where you want to go. And while the last-minute deals are great, I've bought plenty of tickets on Game Time well in advance, so you could be on there right now looking at what games might be available. Maybe not right now, because I think single game tickets still need to be on sale. But whenever you can get those tickets for football games, you're going to want to use Game Time. Trust me, you go into the app. I love the flash deals. You just swipe this little yellow button that pops up. It'll show you the best deals. They have zone deals, so you could just buy a certain area of the stadium. You won't necessarily know where your seat is right away, but you're going to get a huge discount for doing so. And you'll still have a good idea of where you are in the stadium. It's not like it's just going to randomly put you somewhere else. So Game Time has all these different options that make it nice and flexible for you. And with this schedule coming out tonight, that's where you're going to want to go to help get you tickets. And again, you can use it for other sports, comedy, theater. Game Time goes well beyond sports as well. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use this code. It's CHGO. Very simple to remember. It's our usual code, CHGO, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
And this May, our number one draft pick for all things Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams, it's got to be Ray CDJR in Fox Lake. Don't worry about the fact that Ray Scarpelli only thinks the Bears are going to win 9 games next season. Don't worry about that. Right now, it's the season, which means not only May is the time to find your next vehicle, but yes, huge savings coming to you. Limited time. You got the 2024 Ram 1500. The Bighorn Crew Cab for only $419 a month. They've got 125 vehicles under $20,000. Let that amazing team at Ray CDJR help you land the perfect vehicle, the perfect price with that raised price promise. The numbers you're hearing now, same price you can expect when you shop in store and online. They give you the same numbers all the time because that is the Ray price promise. No changing, no add-ons, no hidden fees. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, you got to check out the team, Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, because they're the only team that we recommend. Visit them on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963. It's a fun land where Ray Scarpelli can predict 9 games. You can call him a negative Nancy.
Well, I was going to say, you didn't have to throw him under the bus necessarily for the text he is sending us during the show. But
he wanted me to do it. He encouraged it.
Yeah, he did. He actually gave you clearance to mention your 9 wins. So,
I got clear.
Yeah, so, he did. I got it right here on the phone.
Yeah. And listen, but that's the car guy you want. He's not going to fluff you up. He's going to give you the honest take. He's going to tell you what you need to know. And that's and hey, 9 wins. You in a lot of years that'd be a good situation. We're just going to live in a little more optimism tonight.
Absolutely.
We're used car salesmen on this show, apparently. Not at Ray CDJR. Damn it.
No, they got the raised price promise there.
Yeah.
We just got the Bragg's 17-0 promise on our show. All right, let's talk about the primetime games a little bit, and let's spell them out for you because we all did predictions last week. I know I predicted the max of 6. This is one of the more surprising things about this schedule for me, guys. And these are your primetime games. So we go week 2 against the Texans, September 15th on the road, NBC, Sunday Night Football. This is a fun matchup. I got nothing against this matchup. It is going to be fun. It's Caleb Williams versus CJ Stroud. Totally understand why it's a primetime game. I know a couple of you predicted that it would be when we did our predictions. Was that you, Carm? Braggs?
Right here, baby.
Yeah.
Mr. Correct Prediction. Yours truly. It's at the Carm on Twitter. The Carm 23 on Instagram.
You should put that in your Twitter bio as well. All right. And then also your primetime games. Minnesota, a typical normal game. Not until December, though. We're talking December 16th before the Bears move back in primetime, barring a flex, which if the Bears start 9-2 or on that track like Nick predicted, I mean, maybe we do get a flex in there or something like that.
Yep.
But that's a big gap between primetime games, although you will have the Thanksgiving game in there. But even waiting till Thanksgiving, because you're going to count London, 8:30 in the morning. I mean, I guess it's kind of a special game, and it is a exclusive window, but it is 8:30 in the morning. It's 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast. So it's just a little funky there. And then your last game comes on Thursday night, the night after Christmas, Boxing Day. And they'll be boxing with the Seattle Seahawks, Shane Waldron going out against his own team. And so you're not getting a home night game until December 26th. And by the way, guys, if it sounds like I'm complaining about this, the selfish truth is I hate night games. For us, it sucks. We like noon games. We like to get in and out and be home to our families and be able to watch Sunday Night Football on TV. When they have a night game, we don't get home usually until like 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes. Well, so this isn't like a selfish thing where we're complaining about it. I also like the excitement of primetime games and do think that this team with Caleb Williams should be featured more to the national audience. That's where I'm coming from.
Right. No, I am complaining about it. I love night games. I don't care about my family. I want to watch the Bears on prime time. And so for them to put, I mean, the Seahawks, all right, Texans obviously, normally be like, what the hell? But CJ Stroud versus Caleb Williams, I get it. But, only one divisional team on prime time. Maybe there's a flex at the end of the year with the Packers that last week of the season. Let's hope it is, because that means there's big implications within that game. But then, yes, you do still have the Lions on Thanksgiving as well. No, it's not a night slate, but that is a prime time slot in a lot of ways because the entire country is watching you while they're all hanging out with their families that they do love.
Yeah. See, I think the NFL is, like, to me, this floats back into the NBA. Like, it used to, they'd only put Magic and Bird on when Jordan was young. Didn't put Jordan on primetime. Do you understand who Caleb Williams is? Don't put him on primetime against the Vikings in the division when you could have a chance to put him on primetime against the Packers and the Lions. Way better game. I get the Thanksgiving thing. So then go with Green Bay. Minnesota is not going to be good. JJ McCarthy is going to have his ups and it's just not a great choice. The Seahawks.
I actually disagree with you on that, but we don't have to do a Viking show right now.
Okay. Well,
I mean, they have some of the best offensive weapons in the league. Their defense with Brian Flores is at minimum solid. I mean, I don't think the Vikings are going to be a dumpster fire by any means. I mean, that should be a competitive game.
Who's the quarterback?
It's JJ McCarthy.
Okay. I'm betting against
rookie matchup.
Okay, well, go ahead and bet against JJ McCarthy because there's few better places that guy could have ended up. Because what's his reputation?
That would be winning, Adam.
Well, but also just being a game manager, getting the ball to the playmakers. Who has better playmakers than the Vikings? Maybe the Bears in the division, but they're pretty damn good up there. I don't know if you heard of this guy named Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. Some of these guys. I mean, I don't think that offense is going to suck.
Are you telling me that you think that who's finishing last in the division?
I would say it's probably the Vikings. But when I say that, I'm saying like they're still 8-9.
Okay. I'll take the under.
That's fine, but I don't think they're a 3-win team. I don't think you're getting a matchup there in December where the Vikings are where they're fighting more for the number 1 overall pick than they are a playoff spot. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say the Vikings are good, but I just don't think that they're awful.
But you would agree, though, if you could pick any primetime game with Detroit, Green Bay, or Minnesota, Minnesota's your last pick? That's all I'm really saying.
Between those three, oh yeah, probably.
Right.
Probably, yeah. And let's get to some of that. So I like to go through schedule quirks every year, and I actually have one for all 3 divisional teams. So this is a good transition here right now. So let's start with the Detroit Lions, because that is one where I'm a little surprised the Bears did not end up with a scheduled primetime game, although they do end up on Thanksgiving. So that makes sense there. So you're getting kind of your exclusive window game on Thanksgiving, plenty of eyeballs on it. Don't get me wrong. And this has been a popular game recently. So this is now the 4th time in the last 7 years the Bears play in Detroit on Thanksgiving. I don't know if you guys know this. Hopefully you incorporate it in your schedule predictions, guys. The Lions, despite being better in the last couple of years, they've lost 7 games in a row on crazy. Thanksgiving. They had an absolute dud last year against the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. It ended up closer, but they really didn't play that well in that game. The Packers pretty much punked them. Okay. And in that 7-game losing streak that the Lions have on Thanksgiving, the Bears are responsible for 3 of those. They have a 3-game winning streak against the Lions on Thanksgiving. So there's your Lions schedule quirk and why that might not be so bad that the Bears play in Detroit on Thanksgiving. For the Vikings, perhaps explaining, Carm, why this is on Monday Night Football again, 6th time in the last 9 years, that the Vikings and Bears play on Monday Night Football. This has been a popular matchup that obviously ESPN likes. It's obviously been rated well for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep doing it. And once again, the Bears and Vikings will be on Monday Night Football. And then for your Packers, it's the opposite. And this is really surprising to me, because I don't know if you guys noticed this, but this is the 2nd year in a row without a scheduled primetime game against the Green Bay Packers. Both of the games last year were in the afternoon, late afternoon. I believe both of them were week 1 and then in week 18, but they're not played at nighttime against the Packers. Before last year, the last time the Bears and Packers did not play in primetime, you have to go all the way back to 2005. And even that game, the 2nd game of that season where they played against each other, was still a 5 Eastern kickoff on Christmas Day. So it was still an exclusive window. You'd have to go back to 2004, actually, to just get 2 random afternoon games between the 2 teams before last season. So the fact that this has now happened 2 years in a row surprises me. It also tells me the 2nd game in this thing, remember, it's week 18, so it very well could get flexed. Maybe even the 1st game gets flexed. I think both of those games could be flexed. But it is surprising that they didn't just go ahead and schedule Bears Packers for a nighttime game, because usually they always do. So
week 11, Sunday night, you guys take a peek at who it is?
What the Sunday night game is?
Yeah.
No, what is it?
It is the Indianapolis Colts, the New York Jets.
Ooh.
And to that point, I think the Rodgers and the Jets are in primetime like a ridiculous amount of times early in the season. So if Rodgers gets hurt again, which I would put on the table at his age, maybe that is a prime, or Anthony Richardson. His health is in question too, quite frankly. So yeah, maybe that's a game that gets flexed.
I mean, I that's just a hard thing for me to figure out. The schedule makers are looking at that. We could put the Bears and Packers, or we could go Colts Jets. That doesn't seem like rocket science to me.
Sorry, real quick, Braggs. Which podcast does Aaron Rodgers go on to spit a conspiracy theory about him getting flexed off of Sunday Night Football in favor of Jordan Love?
That's right, Pat McAfee. Well, I mean, and McAfee's a Colts fan, so maybe it's McAfee versus Aaron Rodgers there. So, yeah.
All right, Braggs. Let's have you break down your schedule here before we get to another break.
Okay.
Make your predictions. This is your turn, Braggs, to go through your schedule.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into this. Obviously, there was a last-second switch with the Cardinals game moving to week 9, which we weren't expecting through some different leakage earlier in the day. Because I'm all about the way the momentum rolls. So you got to roll with me a little bit here and get on the meatball train because we are going to roll this meatball down Lakeshore Drive, baby. Week 1, cupcake, Tennessee Titans at home. That's a win. Then we're going to go on the road and get a little humble pie early on. Welcome to the big leagues. Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud, and the Houston Texans are going to take the Bears down week 2. But then we get rolling, as you can see. A lot of dubs on the screen. At the Colts, cupcake, dub. At home against the Rams, another cupcake. Not scared of Matt Stafford. That's a W. Then you got the Carolina Panthers in the Ryan Poles Bowl. We get one more time to just rub it in the Carolina Panthers' face for the greatest haul in the history of the NFL. That's a dub. Then we move over to across the pond, playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will be there having a lot of fun, and I refuse to see a loss in that game, and I will do everything in my power to make sure we get a dub. So that's a dub. Sign it up. Let's get going. Then after the bye, you get 2 weeks off. Washington, come on now. Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams. This is simple math here. Now the momentum's rolling. Envision yourself as a Bears fan and everything. Nobody can get in our way now. Think how hyped Soldier Field will be every time the Bears run out that tunnel. Think how hyped this Bears team will be as these wins start to stack up. Dubs against Washington. Dub at Arizona. Not scared of Kyler Murray. Beat them last year, and the Bears weren't even, a team that, in my opinion, is as good as they can be this year. New England at home. Sorry. We're going to continue to take down all the different quarterbacks taken after Caleb Williams here in this draft. Then we come to a halt, playing the Green Bay Packers at home. Man, I would love to take down the Packers. I'm so sick of the Green Bay Packers. Peter Bukowski, talking spicy on the timeline here today, trying to take some shots across the bow. That's okay. They can have their win. They're going to take down the Bears at Soldier Field, continuing our misery against that franchise. But then we get right back on track. Minnesota and Detroit, back-to-back divisional dubs, right the ship. Thursday morning, I should say, with the 11:30 a.m. slate, taking down the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. Enjoy your turkey for those that observed. Then San Francisco on the road, tough game, maybe even a flex potential there at San Francisco. So there's a loss for you. Then the run. Everybody's worried about this 10 games in 3 days, but I look at it as an opportunity.
10 games in 3 days.
Or 3 games in 10 days. I'm sorry, I got dyslexic there. 3 games in 10 days. Bears go on a run here, build some momentum. Don't think, just play. I love that Seattle game on Boxing Day, 12/26. Bring it on a short week. Cole Kmet has said that players don't mind the short week because then you get 10 days off. And you know what? At that point, as much as I'd love to beat Green Bay in Green Bay to end the year and get to 14 wins, the Bears won't need it. Bears will have everything clinched up that they need, and the Packers are going to still be fighting for their playoff lives. So Packers get the dub final week of the season. Full meatball mode. Send it 13-4.
Congratulations.
Greg, this is when I looked at their schedule, 13 wins. You look like this bear. Coked off your mind, but I love the optimism. Let's go.
13-4.
Honestly, why didn't you go 17-0? If you're going to go through 13-4, just run the table and talk to us about it for like 6 hours.
I'm actually going to say you're not a full meatball. You had them losing twice to the Packers.
Yeah.
Didn't go that far.
That's
so
because you understand why you did that, right?
But also, like I said, originally the Niners game was where the Cardinals game was. So I know they go on a huge run there, but I'm not going to come off of it because at the end of the day, it is a week-to-week league, and there is a lot of momentum that I take into account, especially when we start to make our week-to-week predictions when the season starts, and I hold a lot more value in making those predictions than the fun we're having here tonight. But originally, I did have a loss shimmied in there with the Niners, but now I've got them going on a run, but I'm not scared because at the end of the day, It is about the matchups. And I think the Bears do match up well with a lot of these teams here on their schedule and a lot of these different quarterbacks. That's what's fun about this. Bill Zimmerman, who I enjoy his coverage a lot, does a great job there on Bears Twitter and a lot of different stuff he does, with Windy City Gridiron. He pointed out this, every other top 10 quarterback drafted in the last 3 drafts, with the exception of Michael Penix, Caleb Williams will face this season. And also the first overall quarterback taken last year, one of the first round quarterbacks from 2020 twice. So you get 10 different games where there's all these different elite quarterback matchups for Caleb Williams to show that he's the best. He's the cream of the crop in terms of all these different quarterbacks coming out, whether it be CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and obviously Jaden Daniels and Drake May and, JJ McCarthy. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And then obviously Trevor Lawrence in London squaring off against these 2 guys that were dubbed generational when they were coming out of the NFL draft. So a lot of juicy quarterback matchups this season that I'm excited for.
Well, it would also be a great matchup.
What's
if
that?
The 4 of us went and battled it out at our new sponsor, Whirly Ball.
Let's go.
And, I had a little pre-show discussion with Steven. By the way, Steven Nicholas absolutely crushing it today. All these graphics you're seeing, if you're watching on YouTube, guys are working his ass off, getting all this stuff out. Some adjustments late. Got to make late game adjustments sometime. Steven came through and crushed it today, just like he would on the Whirly Ball court. Is that what we're calling it? He didn't know what Whirly Ball is. And I'm guessing some of you don't either. And you need to know right now, because imagine playing a combination of basketball and lacrosse while in a bumper car. Because that's what it is. It's the most fun you can have going 4 miles per hour. That's just a scientific fact. And the Bucktown location has 3 Whirly Ball courts, 12 bowling lanes with lane side service. So you don't have to run and go get your own drinks. A 2-story laser tag arena, private event spaces, and 45,000 square feet of fun. 32 craft beer taps, craft cocktails, and upscale bar food. Booking with Whirly Ball is as easy as an intentional walk. Just go to whirlyball.com/CHGO. Again, that's whirlyball.com/CHGO. Click book now. It's also a location in Vernon Hills right by my house. It's a great spot too. Purchase an hour of Whirly Ball and get 30 minutes of bowling for free. But you must book with a private event to redeem. Book now, right now at whirlyball.com/CHGO.
My brother is 20 years older than me, same parents. For his 70th birthday, dude chose Whirly Ball. He wanted it to be a nice affair, and family members were absolutely going at each other, trying to kill each other. It was phenomenal.
That's what I was about to ask. I mean, is this some kind of activity where I can assault Carm without getting in trouble for it? Is that what this is?
This will be a great opportunity for both of us, and I look forward to getting...
Yeah, I would keep it clean and,
we like Whirly Ball.
We have a great chance of getting kicked off the Whirly Ball court, and everybody else will have fun after we leave.
Another place we have a great chance of getting kicked out of is London. When we travel to London with our guys over at True Fan Travel, we appreciate them jumping on board here for our trip across the pond. And make sure you're joining us, and hitting up True Fan Travel to sign up for this trip. Put your deposit down right now. I know I'm getting all my, things in order, bringing my wife over. We're going to have some fun. Your passport to the world of sports. Over 8,000 fans traveled over 145 different trips. Don't just watch the game, live it. Be the fan in the stands. Travel to the most sought-after games worldwide, from football to baseball, basketball, soccer, and more. Custom travel packages that include tickets, 4 to 5-star accommodations, and unique local experiences, making it an unforgettable sports getaway. Exclusive meet and greets with former players. Sean Gale will be with us on our trip over to London, former Chicago Bears. So you get to have some fun, shake hands, snap photos, and share moments with legendary former players of your favorite sports. Hassle-free travel planning by travel experts who make sure every detail is covered, from game day to excursions. Explore the worldwide selection of destinations featuring iconic sports cities and hidden gems where the spirit of the game comes alive. They are your trusted travel partner for professional sporting events around the world. So again, with this package that we're doing with the trip to London here with True Fan Travel, you have flights to London, 4 to 5 star hotel accommodations, a welcome event held at a local pub in London, a private boat cruise on the River Thames, an all-inclusive tailgate party close to Tottenham Stadium, upper level tickets to the Bears game, transportation, on-site trip coordinators, breakfast every single morning if you're not hungover to miss it, and a meet and greet with us here at the CHGO Bears team. Head to truefantravel.com to make your deposit and secure your spot today.
And thank you to everybody who bought their trips today. I saw those coming in, saw some people on Twitter saying that they were in and joining us. It's going to be a really fun trip. All right, let's couple things we still are going to talk about here. Strength of schedules is coming up here. We're also going to pick our favorite non-Bears game of the year that we're looking forward to checking out. And I know people are probably reacting while we're doing the show to all the social media videos that all these different teams put out, including the Bears. We will break all that down as necessary on tomorrow's show because obviously we went live pretty much right after all this came out. So we haven't viewed all those. And I know people always like to react. I did see on Twitter already that the Tennessee Titans did another version of what they did last year with the person they had on the street asking random people to break down the opponents. And it was so funny. It was so funny. So I'm looking forward to watching that. But if you haven't seen it, just wait till the show's over and then go check it out. Because we got a lot of things we're still going to be breaking down here in our last two segments of the show. So let's talk strength of schedule, which is one area where the Bears do have an advantage. And you can see it right here that strength of schedule, opponent, just going off opponent win percentage from last year, the Bears are towards the bottom, 29th, tied for 29th with the Carolina Panthers with an opponent winning percentage of just 467. At the top, Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers. So obviously the teams in the AFC North getting stuck with tougher schedules. This year, sometimes that happens just based on how the divisions line up. And of course, that is a tough division to begin with as well. So Bears on the better end of this. And as we just compare it to their NFC North rivals, guys, there is a sizable difference here between the Packers, Lions, Vikings until you get to the Bears. So the Packers actually have the fourth toughest schedule. The Lions with a 526 winning percentage. The Lions ranked 11th. The Vikings are 16th. And then you drop all the way to the Bears at number 29. Now, I do want to caution everybody on this because going off of last year's winning percentage in a league where there's changes every year, you always have teams go from last to first. And if you have a last place schedule, that means one of the last place teams you play is probably going to be pretty damn good, actually. So it can be deceiving. I like, and Warren Sharp's been a big proponent of this, looking at who's got rest advantages and more analytical things like that. Trying to anticipate the rosters, which is why we have fun doing this prediction show every year when the schedule comes out. But we're going to do it again at the end of training camp when the 53-man rosters are set. We have a much better idea of what these teams are starting to stack up like, including the Chicago Bears at that point, most importantly. But it does show you, just based off of last year's results, that going into this whole thing, the Bears are in pretty good shape as it relates to the rest of the division.
Detroit, you look at their schedule, they got a bye early, fourth week, and then they've got Dallas on the road, Minnesota on the road, Tennessee at home, and then Green Bay on the road, Houston on the road. 4 of 5, and some tough games in there. The Lions, top of the division here, they got it ain't gonna be easy up there in Detroit. So that, just taking a little peek around the division, that was one stretch that stood out to me.
Yeah, even how the Packers start off their season. I mean, in Brazil against the Philadelphia Eagles, who knows how that's going to go, to be completely honest, when you have, a start like that. And, I think that what I was seeing on their schedule, they also face the Dolphins in there as well. So, I mean, you have some quality opponents that, obviously are going to be a proven test to the Green Bay Packers. So even just like that start, though, that can be how we were talking about the Bears facing the Tennessee Titans week 1, how that can be a good way for them to gain momentum. I know week 2, Sunday Night Football against Houston, but you get that win under your belt. Going overseas, going to Brazil, facing a tough opponent, the Philadelphia Eagles, like that's not the most, I think, ideal way that you want to start ultimately your 2024 season.
Yeah, and the Bears had a good strength of schedule last year as well. I mean, when you're the last place team in your division, then typically you're going to play other last place opponents, so you're a good chance to have, a good strength of schedule. Obviously, after the season is over, looking at, okay, what was the strength of schedule then is a better indicator of like how tough the teams. But to Hoge's point, talking about the rest, last year, the rest really did line up well for the Bears. They had their bye week and the different Thursday night games kind of placed in good spots. And then those also led to divisional games. And it seemed like last year's schedule lined up very nicely for the Bears. And this year's, as we've called it here a few times, it's a little wonky, this schedule. So, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But at the end of the day, you know how tough the NFC North is, because to your point about the Steelers and some of those teams being at the top, well, so is the AFC South as far as toughest strength of schedule teams. The AFC South teams are up there as well. So, that just goes to show you the strength that we have here in the NFC North division. So we'll see, but it's hard to put stock into it this early at this point of the offseason. We just got to get to the season and see how these teams look.
All right, Carm, it is your turn, my friend, to make your predictions on this 2024 Chicago Bears schedule.
I mean, this is the most brilliant run ever, and I will mention that the Cardinals 49ers flip mess with me, so I would have done this a little bit.
Stop making excuses.
I am making excuses. It's a legit excuse because they're week to week league, but when you lose a bunch of games in a row, that piles up and things do tend to change the focus. But bring it up here. This is what we're going. Of course, we're winning against the Titans. No brainer there. The Texans is going to be a shootout. Caleb's going to play great. It's going to be a tough loss, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Bounce back, go on a roll. Beat Indy, beat the Rams, kill the Panthers, take down Jacksonville. Braggs gets stuck in London. He's in jail, and we'll be there for another week. Really looking forward to that. I guarantee it. Then we come home, after the bye, somehow, some way, Jaden Daniels has a big game. Commanders defense gives the Bears some trouble. Bears lose. Go back on the road to Arizona. No problem. We'll be there. Another win. By the way, 2 or 3, on the road. We're there. That's sweet. New England, why even bother showing up at Soldier Field? You don't belong. Green Bay, I'm not afraid of you. Let's go. That game gets flexed to Sunday night. Get out of there, Colts and Jets. That's ridiculous. Let's go, Packers. I'm having fun. Then, of course, Minnesota. Why are you on the schedule too? Hoge, I'm not scared of what you said. But the back end, it does get tough here. Lost at Detroit on Thanksgiving. Lost to the Niners. Minnesota in a game that I just don't think the Bears play well on that Monday night. Monday nights are tough. I think we lose that. I think I have that game 17-16. Come back home, right the ship, beat Detroit, eke out a win against Seattle, and then playoffs are locked in. We have our spot, so we're resting Caleb. Tyson Bagent plays phenomenal, but doesn't do enough. Bears lose to the Packers 28-25, 11-6. Let's go playoffs. We'll see you there.
11-6, big improvement.
Tyson Bagent plays phenomenal.
I mean, is there really even anything to debate of what I just said, honestly?
Now, Dr. Truth points out Carman's the only member of CHGO to nail last year's prediction. In fairness, though, that was the predictions we made right before the season. I have no idea what he said when we did our schedule predictions, but there's no way it was actually 7-10. You definitely changed it.
Oh, I mean, I haven't checked the tape, shockingly, because I just know that whatever I said was right. But I do reserve the right to make some adjustments when we get to opening day. But right now, 11-6, let's go.
All right. Well, in the meantime, it's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
That's right, Adam Hoge. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense for the Beckett and Lou's in your life.
So what should business owners do, Carm?
Well, they need to go to ComEd.com/clean, and they're going to learn more about the resources, the fleet rebates, and the infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, do not wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
You bet your Hogalicious I did. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
You gotta check out ComEd, and then you gotta check out Circa. They have tight money line splits, low hold model. You guys know about it. Games will strive to be a -110 split on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sports books, which may use a -115 or -120 split. Circa Sports keeps as little money as possible on large market bets, futures, golf tournaments, whatever it may be, especially compared to some of those other books. They also have the high app limits and transparency, which is also great. Circa Sports does not limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players. And look, Circa encourages bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps available. Compare the lines from each sports book. You'll see for yourself. And Circa has the best customer service. There are real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use those darn chatbots. And all aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also, be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. They're with us all the Cubs Friday 120 Club. So you already know they're in a trusted place. And if you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyourreallywinning.com.
All right, still want to get to your super chats, and I, of course, will make my predictions before we get out of here, and I'm sure they will all be completely 100% accurate, more accurate than Carm's. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about some non-Bears games, because we're all going to be sitting there watching plenty of football this year, and you got plenty of different options. You got Friday night in Brazil. You got Black Friday. You got Christmas Day on Netflix now. Hopefully you subscribe to every single streaming service you need to watch every single NFL game. And yes, I am crazy enough to do it and definitely will do it. I'm going to go week 1. My favorite non-Bears game on this schedule, partially because I'm just looking forward to week 1. And if we have to deal with a noon crap game against the Titans, the good part of that is we should be able to watch Sunday Night Football. And you got a decent one, right? Rams and Lions. By the way, does anyone want to confirm that for me right off the bat? Because I saw that was all. I went off. This was all off of leaks earlier, but did that get confirmed that that's the actual game? As I stopped myself here,
You trusted the leakage. Trusted the leakage.
I trusted the leakage. I'm assuming that's what it is because it is a good game. It's also very relevant to the Bears because, first of all, playoff rematch last year. Matthew Stafford versus his former team in Detroit. Lions got that win, so it's a rematch of that. So that's cool. 2, I think we're all sizing up the Lions as the toughest competition in this division this year, the reigning NFC North champ. So we get it right out of the bat, an opportunity to watch the Lions, see what they look like. And then on top of it, the Rams are going to be a fun team to watch again. It's always fun watching Sean McVay's offense, everything he does, how he tweaks it every single season. And the Bears play the Rams in week 4. So another opponent that's coming up early on in the season that you get to watch right off the gate. So primetime Sunday Night Football, 2 teams that are very relevant to the Bears early on in the season. I think it's just going to be a great matchup for Bears fans to watch to kind of just scout 2 of their teams coming up. And it should be a fun game as well.
Mine is I'm sorry guys. I was just gonna say mine is definitely week 1 as well, but Packers Eagles in Brazil. And that's got to be my favorite game because Green Bay will never be further away from me in my life than in that moment. Get them as far across this globe as I possibly can get. I know people are upset at me for not picking the Bears to beat the Packers in either of their matchups, even though I did pick them to win 13 freaking games. So I'm sorry I didn't just completely roll into a meatball and roll down Lakeshore Drive. But I am excited for that Friday game. It's a 7:15 p.m. Central kickoff Friday night. We all got Saturday off, so I vote we all meet up somewhere and watch this game. That's what I'm gonna do. See what we'll get. See where we can get this rolling. Because, like you said, Hoge, why not?
I might even come to the Bragg's garage for that one.
Let's do it. Let's have a cookout at the Bragg's residence. You can jump in my pool pregame. 7:15 kick. Get to root against the Packers. Packers might be in last place before the Bears even play a game.
You know what? I might even take care of your bird problem while I'm there.
You bringing a gun?
Well, it is Indiana, right? Aren't you supposed to?
Who is that? Who is that a home game for? Gary Rappaporter, if you can help. I know you're in the chat. Who is that?
I think it's the Eagles home game. Yeah, because the Packers, I remember that being a thing that the Packers were going to go to Philly, and that would have been a lot of Packer fans there. So instead they go to Brazil. Yeah.
All right.
You guys have a great time. I think that's a great idea for you two, Hoge and Braggs, to bond. Me and Nick will be doing what we normally do on that Friday night, but I think that's lovely for you two. Videos.
And by the Carman means playing tennis.
Yeah. All right, I'll go. Houston and Kansas City on a Saturday night. Give me that matchup all day long. Give me a little extra CJ Stroud. Give me a little extra Patrick Mahomes. Let me sit there and watch and look at ways in which Caleb Williams is going to be like this in a couple of years. I look for great quarterback matchups. I like a Saturday night game, just a little peaceful way to go into your Sunday. That's the third to last week of the season, so hopefully something will be on the line in that game. Lot of tough picks there. That one is for you, Matt Nagy. Hey, I like watching the best. I like watching the best against somebody who's coming up. I'll take the Stroud, Mahomes, Chiefs, Texans matchup.
Man, Mark, that's why I wanted to go right after Adam, because I literally has that matchup week 16, the Houston Texans at Kansas City on Saturday. It is a really good quarterback matchup. And I think at that point, you're probably expecting both those teams to be fighting for the, first and second seed in the AFC. So that's one where I'm going to have that circled, and hopefully, let's see, week 16, the Bears will be playing that'll be the Lions game on Sunday. So yeah, I think that's a game that a lot of people will be watching, and for good reason. It's two really good football teams. And if there's someone that's going to finally challenge Patrick Mahomes, is it going to be CJ Stroud, who does have a complete team behind him? I think well more prepared in 2024 than he was in 2023 when he went off. So that's a game that, like you, I'm also going to be looking forward to watching throughout this season.
All right, there they are, our top non-Bears games to watch, but you care more about the Bears games. So let's get back to it. My turn to make my schedule predictions. And I didn't care about the Cardinals or the 49ers switching, because I'm the only one who has the balls to pick them to win both of those games. So it didn't change anything for me. We're starting off with a dub week 1 with the Titans. Sunday Night Football in Houston should be a fun one. Bears are riding Caleb Mania, feeling good, 2-0. But then things change, feeling a little too good. This is the NFL. It's a roller coaster. It always is. Bears lose 2 straight games. I'm a little worried about the Rams. If this was a December game, that would obviously help. Instead, it's September. Weather should be nice. Rams come in. They're still a good football team. They made the playoffs last year when everyone thought they wouldn't. Well-coached football team. So I got the Bears then going to 2-2. Carolina, no problem. I'm with Braggs. They're not going to London again and losing. They get the dub against Jacksonville. I agree with Carman on this Washington game. I think the coaching staff here changes completely. Dan Quinn's going to change that defense there for the Commanders. I don't necessarily think they have a quarterback advantage with Jaden Daniels, because I've talked a lot about that and how much I prefer Caleb Williams. But there's a Cliff Kingsbury wrinkle in there. He knows Caleb Williams well. I think they're going to be able to prepare, and maybe this just ends up being a loss. So 4-3 actually going into the bye. They come out of it though, dub and rolling. That Washington game is after the bye anyway. But they go Arizona, Patriots with some wins, and then finally we start talking about the NFC North and we start running through this NFC North situation. And I'm sorry, this is just going to be my rule on my show, on this show. It's not my show, it's our show. But I've been talking about this going back to last season, guys. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not picking the Bears to beat the Packers until they do it. When they do it, we can change that. But that's just my rule. I'm not falling in the trap anymore because I did it again week 1 last year. I'm not going to do it until they do it. Packers are winning that game. Sorry. It's just the rule that I'm flying by. And so I do have the Bears going 0-2 against the Packers. But they beat the Vikings. They win on Thanksgiving again for all those reasons I gave earlier. Lions suck on Thanksgiving. Bears always beat them on Thanksgiving. I love this game against the 49ers. And I think this is really where the Bears make a statement in their season. I think that could be flexed. Even if it's not, the 49ers are going to be good. Bears make their statement. They get that win. Unfortunately, like I talk about, this roller coaster, they come back down to earth against the Vikings. They lose a game they're probably going to be favored in. And sometimes that happens throughout the season. It happened to the Lions a bunch last year too. I just like how the Bears match up against this Lions football team. So I got them going 2-0 against the Lions this season. I think they get the dub against the Seahawks late in the year, cold weather on Boxing Day after Christmas Day. But again, unfortunately, they get this Packers matchup in week 18, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pick the Packers to win that one until the Bears prove otherwise. Still, when it's all said and done, guys, 11-6. I do agree with Carman on that. And I was kind of in between. So the Bears, going off the Lions, because we've made a lot of comparisons with the Lions and how the Bears could be like a year behind where the Lions' progress has been. So they improved by 3 wins last year when they went to 12-5. But the difference was they were 9-8 the year before. They weren't 7-10. So I thought about that. I was like, a 3-win improvement again to go to 10-7 would make a lot of sense. So I'm with Nick on that. And that's where I was debating between 10 wins or 11 wins, really between those two. So that Lions improvement would be more like 10-7. However, the Bears improved by 4 wins last year. And I think in everything, you just think about Bears only and how much progress that they've made. I think it's on the table that they can improve by 4 wins just for what they've been doing here in Chicago. So I'm somewhere in there. I go 11-6. And I'd love to see them beat Green Bay, but I just can't do it until they do it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You're going to be wrong, but fair enough. We're taking them down. Damn it.
Okay. How about super chats? Assuming we have some in here.
Yeah, we got a few.
Yeah. Chubbs 82, $5. 17-0. We only control our support. 100% support means never say we can't win. Undefeated. I believe in men. I'll never say you can't win.
That's live your life, Chubbs. You go, buddy.
This is Chubbs' yearly argument when we do the predictions, and it's easily his dumbest argument he makes with me on a yearly basis. And you know I love you, Chubbs, but
you live your life, Chubbs. 17-0, buddy. That's fine. Go ahead.
Live your life and learn some sentence structure.
Wow.
Yeah, that was I'm not gonna lie, that was a tough one to get through. Richard Budnick, $4.99 with a little bit of a better sentence structure here. Titans were middle of the pack or bottom half of the league in all stats, minus red zone stops, where they were first. Great game to ease our rookie in.
Pookie. Says Pookie.
Yeah, but red zone is where the Bears need to get better. But that's where they're going to have that quarterback advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Michael 199 says anything less than 10 wins, Flus should be fired.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Hoge. You know, when you said earlier the over under is 8.5, and you said, will anybody in the Chicago media pick them to win 8 games or less? If the Bears win 8 games, which is a 1-game improvement from last year, this season is a complete failure.
So, what if Caleb Williams is doing this thing? I don't know.
We went down this road last year, guys, because we were like, hell, if they win less than 7 games, this season's a failure. And everyone's like, well, if Justin Fields takes the next step, then it isn't. But then they ended up winning 7 games, could have won 9, but the quarterback didn't take the next step. So but at the end of the season, it did feel like the team was making progress.
Right.
Yet the quarterback obviously didn't work out. So what do we define as a failure for this season at this point?
but as much as people want to like complain about what they did, who they fired and who they didn't fire, they fired the people who were responsible for the quarterback not improving, and then they also fired the quarterback, and everybody else that had something to do with the areas where they did improve or they did get 4 wins better, mostly defense, they all came back. So I mean, we really shouldn't be surprised by that. So to answer your question, like it just matters what the context is. So if Caleb is outstanding and wins Rookie of the Year and is putting this team on his back the way he had to at USC, and all of a sudden the defense sucks, which is a scenario I don't think any of us think is, would play out. And they only win 8 games because of that, then they might say, look, we got our quarterback, but obviously this coaching staff isn't the right staff. Then maybe they do. I'm just struggling to see that scenario play out. I really am. I don't see less than 8 wins. I think there will be improvement. I think just like it was at the end of last season, hard to make an argument to fire the coach when you saw that defensive improvement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Celebration schedule show. We could do all the negative, what's successful Flues topics all May long. Brags.
Carm, go to your tennis match. We'll finish the show. We're fine.
No, I'm not going.
Fine.
I'm staying to the end, but I'm not having no negative what's going to Flues fired talk right now. This is a celebration.
No, and I'm not
schedule
even
show.
talking about fire Flues, but I just want to know what the threshold is, or at least what we all feel is the threshold for this team.
Caleb sucks. They don't develop Caleb is my answer for you.
From a win-loss perspective, but you're right. I mean, we do have all summer to talk about this stuff, but I do find it fascinating because this team won 7 games last year. So, now fans, everybody here, and I think most fans it's like 10 wins or more. Nobody's saying anything less than 10. Nobody's saying 9. So I'm trying to understand what people will define as a disappointment if they don't hit these things. So it'll be interesting.
Miss the playoffs, I would say.
That's fair.
All right, last few supers here. Big Cram, 1999. The schedule is like my Abbey, clunky, mismatched, and weird. But in all honesty, probably a slow start with a rookie quarterback and struggles through the middle of the season, but ramping up towards the end. My prediction is a calm 15-2.
That's how you live, Big Cram. That's why I love you.
Yep, that's right. Wow. And then Armando Retta, 199, says got tickets 6th row for Bears at Texans. That'll be a fun one.
Let's go. That's a fun one.
Those are good seats. Hope you got them on game time.
I'm available, Armando.
Yeah, we know. Well, you will take free tickets. It's been well established on the show. 1999. See you in London. I have my deposit in with True Fan Travel. We'll be traveling for my B&B in Easingwold. If you want to do a road trip to see York, we would love to have you. I'm assuming. Number 93, Boutique Guest House, Bear Down. Free advertisement there for Mark's B&B in Easingwold.
Yeah, he offered a super chat, and I wasn't able to read it because it came in after we ended the show on Bears After Dark a couple weeks ago, where he offered the same thing, and then we looked it up, and it looked very nice, Mark Gauthier. But when he sent it, because we're going to London, I was assuming it's like right outside the city. It's like 4 hours. It's like 5 hours from London. That's a hell of a road trip over to Easingwold, and I would love to go, but I don't know if I got a 5-hour road trip in me from London.
Hopefully there's a train or something.
That's true.
I'll go. I'm in. Go.
It is Europe.
We will send Mark Carman. That's a great idea.
I'll do one night with Gauthier to respect one of our great fans. Absolutely, I'll do that. Let's go.
We'll send Mark. That's a great idea.
All right. And then Chubbs 82 explaining his bad sentence structure throws in another $5. He says Google Talk to text is to blame. I'm smarter than you. Brags produce sucks. That is my favorite super we've ever received. Thank you, Chubbs.
Slightly better writing available at allchgo.com. I've got a piece out on the schedule. So does Nick. We've worked really hard on it. I was almost late to the show because I was working so hard and let these guys down. But I was really proud of myself for getting it done. Way to go, Carm. Read my piece. I love you.
And both of those, I believe, are diehard exclusives. So hopefully you're a diehard. AllCHGO.com/diehard. To become a diehard, you get 20% off all events and all merch. We're all very excited about it. Schedule's out. I'm sure we'll have more thoughts tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Back at noon, ready to go. CHGO Bears Podcast, doubleheader today for Braggs and Carm. Great job by you guys. Nick, awesome job. All the content up also at allchgo.com. And Steven pulling the double today with all the graphics did, and it's outstanding job. Carm is seeking more attention here, even as the show ends. I guess I just gave it to him.
Real quick, I did put up a poll on who had the best schedule predictions. Do you guys want to know the results?
Oh boy.
Yes,
I do if I won.
I'll start with fourth place. It is, oh man, it just tied. Tied for last place is Braggs and Carm with 22% of the vote. Nick is he's in second place with 22% of the vote. And the winner is Adam Hoge with 33. There you go. Hoge,
whatever.
Predictions.
I guess our chat isn't real Bears fans. I picked them to win the most games. 13 wins, not real Bears fans.
Hoge, 2 losses to Green Bay. Whatever.
So did Braggs.
But I got him winning 13 games.
Exactly,
It's a
right
wash.
here.
That's a wash. I got him winning 13 games. So
10, man.
I mean, I thought it was obvious, but whatever. It's fine.
All right.
I'm not even worried about it.
We'll circle back on this.
Yeah, we're all going to be right. How about that? We're all going to be right. They're all going to go to the playoffs. Can we agree on that? How about that, Bears fans?
There we go.
Playoffs. How about week 19? How about a tailgate week 19? Screw week 19. They're going to have the bye. They're going to be the number 1 seed.
That's why we're not playing Green Bay last week, and that's why they lose.
Sorry, Carl. We can't see you. We're looking at Caleb now.
Hey, thanks to one and all who subscribed during the show. Hit the subscribe button on the way out. For those who are checking us out Monday through Friday at noon, pre and post game, anything happening, we're here for you. We love you. We appreciate you. No place better to go for your Bears content. $4.99 from Richard Budnick on the way out. Nick, I got my tax return. What should I get? You should go to Shady Rays. And
there you go. Yeah, I love Jordan 1, so give one of those.
Nick, you give you more specifics off the show. And Big Cram coming in with a 9.99er. Tennis sucks to end the show.
My match started 3 minutes ago. It's 20 minutes for me. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep that. Just remember, I love you guys. Forget about tennis. Doesn't even matter to me. I'm not even thinking about the fact that they might kick me out of the league right now because I love you guys, and this is the only thing I need in my life is you. I gotta go.
We'll see y'all tomorrow at noon. Talk to you then.